It's Friday, the 31st of January, 2025. Welcome to the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. How about story number 1? The Australian share market hit a record high yesterday, with investors buoyed by hopes of interest rate cuts next month.
Around lunchtime yesterday, the S&P ASX 200 hit 8,515.1 points before closing up 0.5% to just under 8,500 points. That surpassed the highs of December last year. It's been a very strong start to the year. Now, January's almost over, but the market is up more than 4% in 2025. Imagine if you did that every month, 48% for the year. We'd like that. Again, the banks are leading the way. Commonwealth Bank, Westpac up nearly 5% this year. NAB and ANZ 8%. Bit like last year, the gold companies are doing really well. Northern Star's up nearly 10% so far in 2025. This time around, though, we also have consumer discretionary companies. They're basically businesses that do well when the economic cycle improves. They've done really well. Wesfarmers and Aristocrat up 8%. JB Hi-Fi 9%. Harvey Norman 12%. Few helpers there. Fortescue Metals Group's up 5%. On the back of higher iron ore prices, though BHP and Rio are flat. Goodman was having a great year until the past couple of days. CSL and Telstra are lower, while Macquarie Bank's flat.
What's driving the rise, Sean? Is it all interest rate hopes?
It's mostly. The general boost is from the prospect of a rate cut in the middle of next month following the benign inflation figures that were released on Wednesday. All 4 major banks are now predicting a rate cut. There's also been a boost from Donald Trump, really. Everyone's focusing on the good stuff, lower corporate tax rates, not so much the other stuff. Consumer discretionary companies, we just mentioned them, they're doing particularly well. The consumer staples, Woolies and Coles, they're the big ones. They shouldn't do so well in this interest rate environment, and they're not. To wrap it up, though, we've got earnings season coming up, so it'll be a real test to see whether some of these companies can stay at these levels when they're releasing profits.
Okay, moving on to story number 2 now, and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has classified the incident this week whereby explosives and a list of Jewish sites were found in a caravan in northwestern Sydney as terrorism.
The Prime Minister held a National Security Committee meeting yesterday morning, but wouldn't comment on the operation involving the caravan. While police haven't designated it as terrorism, the Prime Minister and New South Wales Premier Chris Minns have called it that. A man is in custody involving the find. Notwithstanding the discovery, ASIO said the national terrorism threat will remain at probable for the immediate future. The Prime Minister condemned the recent spate of anti-Semitic hate crime. Perpetrators should be hunted down and locked up, he said. Opposition leader Peter Dutton accused Anthony Albanese of ignoring a rise in anti-Semitism, saying that the situation has escalated.
Story number 3, the cost of generating electricity across Australia's grid over the final 3 months of last year, how about this, rose more than 80%, Sean, amid very high demand and an all-time low availability of coal power.
That's according to the regulator, the Australian Energy Market Operator. Now, that doesn't immediately flow through to retail prices, but it will put pressure on household and business bills. Where they really spiked were in New South Wales. 2 of that state's largest coal generators experienced prolonged issues in the final 3 months of last year, including outages. The price went to $143 per megawatt hour. That's huge. Queensland was about $127. Victoria was just $45. Certainly it will feed through to pressure on prices for the rest of us.
Story number 4, President Donald Trump says he is ordering the construction of a massive detention camp with 30,000 beds at the Guantanamo Bay naval base in Cuba, which would be the largest US facility of its kind.
He made the comment ahead of signing a bill to expand the number of immigrant detainees held in US custody for minor property crimes. Mr. Trump said the camp would detain the worst criminal illegal aliens threatening the American people. He went on to say, "We don't even trust other countries to hold them, and we don't want them coming back, so we're going to send them out to Guantanamo. This will double our capacity immediately." Now, the largest facilities in the US network currently have around 2,000 beds. We're talking 30,000 here, so Guantanamo military site will dwarf any other location.
Final story, Sean, story number 5, and this is an absolutely tragic situation. A passenger jet with 64 people aboard collided with an Army helicopter while landing at the main airport near Washington, D.C., triggering a large search and rescue operation in the nearby Potomac River.
American Airlines confirmed that 60 passengers and 4 crew members were on the flight. 3 soldiers were aboard the helicopter, a US official said. Multiple bodies have now been pulled from the water. The mid-air crash occurred around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US, yesterday afternoon our time, when a regional jet that had departed from Wichita, Kansas, collided with the military Black Hawk helicopter while on approach to an airport runway. It occurred in some of the most tightly controlled and monitored airspace in the world, just over 3 miles south of the White House and the Capitol.
All right, there we go. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Friday, the 31st of January, 2025. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't long enough for you, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.